Okay, I'm going to glue the light housing into the cab, and because the hole is a little oversized, I'm going to use some 45-minute epoxy mixed with micro balloons filler, which is just like a Cavasil. And I mixed up quite a batch, but I'll only need toothpick sized quantities. I've already placed a little dab of glue right there on the top of the ceiling or roof, and I'm going to insert the light with these toothpicks as a guide and hold it in place for a little bit, see how it goes. Okay, so I glued the headlight housing in place using the toothpicks to control the angle where the headlight is pointing, just to make sure it's centered also as well. And we'll see how that comes out when it dries. Okay, so once you have your piece glued in, your headlight housing, I inserted the fiber optic rods to see how they would look. And initially the flare created by the heat was a little big, so what I had to do was get a piece of wet dry sandpaper, about 320 or 400 grit, and just spin the edge of the fiber optic to reduce the size of the flare. Just spin it and sand it. As you can see, there's some of the residue. Hold the sandpaper down and spin it, just so you sort of like lathe it down to the appropriate size. And there you have both rods inserted. And once you're pleased with the size of the lens, you can continue with your installation. Now, the first thing I noticed when inserting the fiber optics and trying to get them to the LED is that the Kato shell has a ceiling inside of the cab, and that ceiling is there to prevent the light from this this fiber optic, which is for your number boards, to shine through into the light. The ceiling creates an obstruction because you cannot fit the fiber optics. They have to go on the inside of these two number board plates. If they go through the outside, you're going to have problems with the cab, the roof of the cab, seating down on the ceiling because the glass of the number board is in the way. So what I had to do, I took a drill bit in my Dremel and very carefully drill through the center of this ceiling piece at an angle. I drilled 2 slots. Okay, in addition to drilling these 2 slots through the top of the ceiling, I had to drill 2 holes at the back wall of the cab to get the fiber optics into the LED area. If you also look closely, all the way in the back of the number board fiber optic, I drilled or created 2 slots so that the round fiber optic tube rests inside of those 2 slots, placing it right very close to the LED. I'll show you that piece now. Okay, so here's the number board fiber optic tube. Okay, and as you can see, with a drill bit at an angle, I carved out 2 slots, and this is where the fiber optic tube will rest inside once it's installed. Okay, everything is placed in there loosely so you can see. There you have the fiber optic tubes, the fiber optics for the number boards. Here are the tubes, and they rest right on top of those slots that I just showed you, that you drill out at the end of the fiber optic for the number boards. Hope that's not too confusing, but in the end you'll see what I mean. They are still a little long. I will cut them down once I have this installed and fitted to the light. Okay, so reassemble the piece or the fiber optic for the number boards first, and that you're going to insert from the inside. There are 2 tabs that hold it in place, and then you push down. There you can see the 2 tabs. Install your cab. So there you have the cab placed. Your fiber optic will go through from the outside towards the end. Through the channel that you drilled out and through the hole in the back of the cab, and it will come to rest right there. Now, if done right, these holes will just allow you to slide it through, and it will guide itself right to the channel, as so. That will hold them in place where they need to be, so that the LED can light the rear end of the tube. You'll get a good light. So once this is painted, I'll go back, measure everything, cut them down to where they need to be, and we'll go from there. The other thing you're going to have to contend with is the glass inside of the cab. This glass piece gets installed prior to you mounting the cab on the shell, and because now you've modified the sealing, it's not going to sit where it's supposed to be. So you're probably going to have to cut a slot on the sealing of this clear plastic which holds the windows, so that it seats up against the top of the ceiling. Okay, for test purposes, I've put the shell back on the locomotive, and I inserted the fiber optics through the hole that I created, and they are just about touching the internal LED. And as you can see, here you have your number boards, or your number board backlight, and the headlights. They're pretty bright.